Hello and welcome to another episode of Glory of Golden State Gaming. I'm your host, Swamp Swimmer, and with me as always, the yogi to my boo-boo, Vespacian.
That's a great one. Hey, everybody. Continue to impress with the with the combos.
So, as we all live in a cord-cutting society where most people nowadays don't have a cable service and just have streaming services. And I love murder mystery shows. That's my wife and I's favorite thing. And I discovered that Amazon Prime has extra additional services you can pay for, additional streaming services within their Amazon Prime. And one of them is called BritBox, and it's all the British murder mystery shows. Okay. And my wife and I have been watching the bejesus out of that, and we are enjoying it.
What's your favorite British murder mystery?
It's a hard one. Have you ever heard of a show called Inspector Morse? Morse.
Classic. Yes. I've watched many seasons of it. Yeah.
Really? As of I don't know.
Come on.
6 months ago, I had no idea that was a thing.
Oh man, Morse is great.
And I am loving. And then we watched Inspector Morse. Then Inspector Lewis was his partner in the show afterwards. And then a more recent show is called Endeavor, which is about Inspector Morse before the original show. All really good. I'm enjoying all of it.
Good.
The other one I'll point out is Unforgotten. I think it's on its third or fourth series.
Old case series, yeah. It's good.
That's really good. We just finished the most recent series.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I was gonna ask you, is there any streaming services you prefer? Any niche under the radar streaming services you like?
No, I am I as of right now I don't have a lot of time for TV, unfortunately. So I'm mainly Netflix, and we already have Amazon because of the Prime stuff. So I'm mainly on those two. But I mean, I could definitely add some more British detective shows. Wire in the Blood is a great one, which is a guy who's a sort of kind of on the spectrum, psychoanalysis kind of a guy, not a policeman, but he partners with this policeman who's a big believer in his little shtick, and he helps find serial killers by profiling them, right? There was another one. Well, Broadchurch is great, but that's on Netflix.
I watched that too. Fantastic. I think that's what started my British murder mystery show obsession.
Yeah. I just finished a murder mystery that was I guess Belgian, Luxembourg, something like that, on Netflix, called Capitani. Really pretty good. Yeah, I like that one. It's just a single season though. And then one of the classics that's probably closer to Murder, She Wrote than it is to Morse, but I grew up watching it, was Midsummer Murders.
Oh yeah, classic
British detective show.
It was the British Law and Order. It was just the same formula every episode, but in little
tiny
English
hamlets.
Hamlets instead of New York City. It was fantastic.
So good. Yeah, awesome.
Since we're on a roll here, another of my favorites is the 1990s 80s version of Inspector Poirot.
Yeah, I mean that was
just
grew up
Poirot.
with that on PBS.
So good.
The mustache, yeah.
And the intro is pretty fun. It's pretty ridiculous, but it's pretty fun.
Did you see the recent Murder on the Orient Express one that brings that character in?
Yeah,
the
Agatha
one. It was, pretty good.
Is Poirot Agatha Christie or not? Or am I just losing it?
I thought so, or maybe I thought so, but maybe I'm misremembering.
I did see it.
I liked the recent one. Yeah.
I thought it was just okay, but I know they are doing another one with that, a modern retelling of, not modern, but a redo of those stories with the Death on the Nile, which is another of Agatha Christie's with Inspector Poirot in it.
Cool. I mean, I think it just dialed the nostalgia up to 11 for me. I could kind of remember the like, the PBS, like,
Yeah.
anyway.
All right, moving on.
Masterpiece
Let's
theater.
thank you, PBS. Support your local PBS, please.
Right.
Let's move on here. Okay, here we go. So last we checked in. Oh no. Hold on one second. My Is that the right one? No. There we go. Now we're okay. Sorry about that. Technical issues. Last we were talking, we both got in through round 2 of SoCal Joust. Vespacian's sitting on about 35 points. He's doing pretty well. I'm sitting on 14, which is eh. But Vespacian gets paired into one of the great players of the area, Micah Pierce, who's playing Warriors of the Dark Gods, which he often plays. Actually, he really likes the Barbarian feel, so sometimes he plays Aslanders, but he picked up Warriors for this tournament. But you are sitting on, is this top table or is this top 2 table? What is this?
I think we're on 2 or 3, I think, at this point. Yep.
So if you're interested in Aaron's Highborn Elf list, please go back to the previous video, round 1 video, where we go over it. But Micah is running Warriors of the Dark Gods with a Sorcerer on a War Dais, Master on Occultism, some plate armor with Alchemist Alloys, Magical Heirloom Rod of Battle, another Sorcerer on a Dark Chariot, Apprentice on Evocation, Basalt Infusion, Potion of Strength. He's also running the big bad General Doomlord, Spike Shield, Will of Ward, Hellforged Armor, Halberd, Kingslayer, Ledger of Souls, Talisman of Shielding. He's also got a Barb Chief on a Wasteland Behemoth. He loves his Wasteland Behemoth. He's always got one of those in like almost every army, with a great weapon. 21 Warriors, paired weapons with Greed, and a Zealot's Banner.
Yep, so extra attacks from back ranks.
If you're going paired weapons or even regular weapons, you get that extra attack. Because they have 2.
The Zealot's Banner lets you add a supporting attack too. So yeah, that thing can kick out a lot of damage.
8 Barb Horsemen with great weapons. 9 Chosen with Greed also. 8 Forsworn with great weapons. And 3 Chosen Knights of Gluttony. Yeah. What do you think of this list?
First of all, big kudos to Micah. It's themed on the table, so it's like done as a sort of like a maritime, like a possessed, grotesque kind of fleet, basically. So as you look at the pictures, you can potentially pick it out. It's a really cool theme. Definitely some off meta picks here. He's got this, as you mentioned, the Wasteland Behemoth, the big Doom Star with the Doomlord and the Forsworn. They get the bodyguard there, and they're pretty tough to shift. A couple of mobile scoring pieces with the Chosen Knights and the Barbarian Horsemen, and then obviously 9 Chosen of Greed is nothing to sneeze at. And the Occultism Veil Walker with Heirloom and Rod of Battle for 6 spells combined with Ledger of Souls means that he's going to be just feeding Veil tokens into that thing, especially against a ranged army like mine. So it's a nasty setup. Definitely atypical, I would say, but it's got a lot of interesting tools and tough to shift. That's a lot of beef.
That is, yeah, I agree. And you got your little matchup thing here. Anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, and one thing that's
a 3. You put it as a 3.
Yeah, put it as a 3. He's got 4, I would call them top tier threats with the Death Star, the Chosen, the Behemoth, and the Doom Star, right? There's lots of great targets for me. One thing that I was interested in, though we'll see how it plays out here, is killing the Forsworn allows me to snipe out the Doomlord. So I think if I remember right, once I get them down to less than 5 models, I can snipe the Doomlord, which is nice because he's on a 1 of 5 up, so the bolt throwers like it. and I can push with the monsters. He doesn't have great answers to two giants and a Frosty on the flank, which is nice. And the other thing that's worth adding is this mission was one I was dreading. It's Spoils of War counter thrust, but the twist is that you have to deploy all war machines first.
Oh yeah.
Those familiar with the counter thrust mission know that that sucks for elves because I can't push back with my initial deployments, right? So that means that I have to drop my bolt throwers first. And if I wanted to push back his deployment, especially against warriors, I would want to do, I'd have to put my bolt throwers right up on the line, which sucks. So this was not a great outcome. I was dreading this one, and this was probably one of the worst matchups I could have gotten in it.
Ooh,
so,
that is bad.
Yeah.
So let's see. This is picture 1. This is saying top of 1 movement.
Yeah, so unfortunately I didn't get a deployment picture, but basically Micah, I got first drop, which made it even worse with the bolt throwers. And I decided to take first because I was going to be kind of on the back foot with the deployment of my bolt throwers anyways. It kind of telegraphed my position. So I figured I might as well take advantage of the first turn shooting. So what you can see everything here with the exception of my 2 bolt throwers are kind of in the bottom right corner, sort of out of the shot. Maybe if we go into full screen, I can see them. Yeah, they're kind of out of the screenshot there.
Yeah, this is everything. This is everything.
Yeah, so first thing first, the that hill is a massive terrain piece in this mission because not only is the spoil on it, it's dead central, block lines of sight, right? Give bonus charges, all that kind of stuff. So left to right, I'll start with me. You've got my bolt thrower, and that's actually the furthest left piece that I had. The lions, and in this one, actually, I think maybe the first time in the entire tournament, I put the prince in the lions. Okay. Because I actually like the lion versus Forsworn matchup if they're stubborn. With the prince in there, I think they can fight the Doomlord and the Forsworn. So I like that matchup pretty well. Seaguard with the BSB, the Grey Watchers in the back there with the Adepts. You can see him on the left. Mm-hmm. And then I've stacked my giants and spears and Frosty all over on the right hand side, and you can see what they've pushed up because basically I need that right hand spoil, and I'm zoning that with all of my monsters. And then on his side, he's got the 8 barb horsemen over on his right, my left. They're just going to go for that spoil token, and I'm going to try to make it as tough as I can for them to get it. He's got the Wasteland Behemoth. You can kind of see it's a Glotkin or whatever those things were, but you can see that he's got like he's got like a big like shell thing on the front there, and it's got all sorts of it's got like a big mast, like a broken mast.
Oh, I see the mast here. Yeah, like a broken mast.
Yeah, really cool. And then he's got his big warrior brick with the sorcerer in it. That's that dais thing in the front right or front left of the unit. He's that slug looking thing, like a sea slug in the back, is his apprentice on chariot. Mm-hmm. And he's got the doom star with the Doomlord in there in the middle. And that's, you can kind of see all the little crab claws and like sea snail kind of looking things for the theme. And then he's got the chosen right there on the wall, and then the chosen knights on the other wall.
Gotcha.
And I think that's it. It's a pretty compact army.
So this is your turn 1. You push up. Especially the
push
giant
up
over here, and you get out of his charge arc here.
I do, yeah. So that was a the other thing I want to mention. So Micah and I have faced one another twice in tournaments, and both times I've lost to him. Both times sort of games that I was just like very frustrated by because of dice swings and weird stuff. He's a great guy to play. And so I walked up to the table and I said the famous last words. I said, Micah, you're my kryptonite. So I'm hoping I can start to reshuffle the average here. So I push up. I want to zone those 2 pieces in the middle and right. prevent him from just shoving up with the Doomstar and grabbing that spoil, because I think it'll be hard for me to get it if he does. And yeah, that was about it. I think early kind of minor mistake from Micah to give me the ability to get that giant out of the arc of the Chosen Knights there.
Yeah, definitely.
That helps a lot. So yeah.
All right, next pick here. This is saying top of 2 movement.
Yeah. So let me tell you.
Yeah, go over his turn. Go over his turn.
Yeah. So basically, you can see that in my turn, I focused on shooting at those barbed horsemen. So you can see I took down, it looks like 2 or 3 of them. Yeah. My main thing was I was just trying to push for a panic and get if that thing panics off the board, then he's going to have to devote a main fighting piece over to get that other spoil, and that'd be a huge win. So I was just trying to plink at him. And unfortunately he passes it, and then I think beyond that I just start pushing wounds into the Chosen. They're the only things that I can see, even though they're behind that wall and the numbers aren't great. I've got a lot of shots, so I just start hammering the Chosen with bull throwers and Seaguard shots and stuff like that, and I just pretty much every turn taking off 2 or 3 wounds off that unit, which will be important later. Then he goes into his turn, and he pushes the Doomstar up so he is on the hill, so he can see for it. But relatively tentative. He starts to sweep around the flank with the Behemoth, bringing it into charge range of the Bull Thrower. Trying to block off some lines of sight, but stay out of range of the Lions for obvious reasons. Pretty tentative with the Warrior block. And he just readjusts the Chosen Knights to kind of keep angles there, and he leaves the Chosen where they are. They like the wall. Once again, and this was just, I think, because of that first turn mistake, it wasn't something that he could really prevent. I still was able to get out of arc with the giant. He would have had to basically turn the flank of the Chosen Knights to my entire line if he wanted to prevent me from doing that. So I continue to kind of fold his flank as best I can. I get the spears onto the spoil, if I remember correctly, so that I can pick it up.
Oh, this one here,
yeah. And I just readjust. I'm not interested in fighting all 3 of those blocks with the Lions and the Spear Lord. So I basically just readjust and hope that I can continue to fold that right flank, my right flank, his left flank in. And that's about it from what I can see so far here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, big changes. Okay, this is saying top of 5, so we skipped over 3 turns. Ooh, Vespacian, picture taking. Come on.
I know. This was a very tactical game. So I apologize for that. So let me show you what's happening here. So basically, what ends up happening is let me start left to right. His Behemoth fails that top of 2 charge of his into the.
And he was going after the Bull Thrower. Yeah. Okay.
Which was really nice. And you can't see it very well, but I do continue to shoot when I can at the Barbed Horsemen. I continue to try to panic them. I do trigger panic tests a couple of times. They pass them every time, unfortunately. They ultimately will get, with 1 guy left, that spoil token, unfortunately.
Oh no.
Now the nice thing was there was a couple of turns where I didn't have great targets with the Bull Throwers, and I managed to get a lucky 3-wounder off on the Behemoth, which starts putting that model into play.
That's how I imagine that would be your best target for your Bull Throwers throughout, but you didn't think so?
Well, I don't mind the Behemoth that much because the Lions wreck him. So I didn't feel like I needed to target prioritize him, but because he's playing so cagey in the middle and he's got cover and stuff like that, it became a better target. So I got 3 wounds off there, and then I think I got 1 more kind of cheeky wound off, maybe with the Seaguard or a Bull Thrower. So now he's there. He's now picked up the Bull Thrower that was by the little castle.
Yeah.
I did make a big move in I think my turn 3 or 4. I used my Reavers in a conga um, to chaff up his behemoth, his warriors, and his chariot.
Oh wow. So like
And
1, 2, 3. Okay.
all, yeah, and that allowed me to get the lions up onto the spoil token and claim it, which was critical, right? And so basically at that point, I buffed them and I said, "You can come at me with that Doomstar, and we'll see how this goes," right? So that was what happened in the middle. That kind of catches you up to here. I will highlight there was a couple of turns where Micah had some pretty rough dice. Like I couldn't let Rot Within off on the Lions because it changes the calculus a lot on the two Death Stars fighting. So I kept having to dispel that, and I'd leave him, with 4 dice left to cast Grave Calls, and he'd fail it. For example, he did that. That happened one turn, and that can happen. It's an expensive spell, but that definitely hurt because a big Grave Calls off on that Lions changes things a lot, right? So
Yeah, really.
there was some dicey stuff in there. I'll migrate over to the right hand side. On the right hand side, because I was closing up his flank, the Chosen Knights basically, I think just hoped for a weird dice spike in his favor and went up, and I was able to take a giant and the spears in, buff the absolute heck out of the spears, and just wiped them. I think I took like 2 or 3 casualties. Yeah.
These spears did that? Wow.
Yeah, with Awaken the Beast and Stars Align, they can get pretty nasty. And so I went through that unit in one turn, and then basically the spears just hung onto the objective. That allowed me to pull the giants and the Frosty around, which you can now see have gone to the Chosen. And it's hard to tell because of the models, but just 4 or 5 turns of bolt throwers and Sea Guard just hammering that Chosen unit. By the time the giant and Frosty went in, there was like 5 models left, right? So I'd done quite a lot of damage. I used my giant chaff here to prevent the Forsworn brick from going in, because now this is after he cleared up my Reaver chaff, right? And he did. The model's not tied to it, but the chariot is actually into the flank of the.
Oh, yeah. So you're in combat here. You're pinned here now. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. So now you're caught up. So what happens here? I turn the Sea Guard around to shoot at the behemoth. The lions are just ready to kind of take the champ sacrifice on the chariot and then turn around and kill that chariot. The giant needed to chaff the Doomstar, so I didn't take both bricks to the face, figuring I'm going to pick up the Chosen up top. And at this point, the behemoth's almost down, Chosen are down, Chosen Knights are down. I think I've got a pretty comfortable points lead. And so if I can just hang on to that objective with the lions, then I'll be in a good spot. So that's where we're at here. I think there's one more picture. Yeah.
Let's see here. So this is saying bottom of 5.
Yeah. So what happens is exactly as I said. The Sea Guard pick up the behemoth. I think it actually took the Reapers too. The Lion Guard champion takes the challenge of the chariot, and then they turn to take them down. He takes the giant chaff. I think that there you can see a Chosen champion running away from the giant and the Frosty with like
this guy right here.
Yeah. And he'll later run off the board, and that's where we're at now in bottom of 5. So I think that's the last picture I have, right? So I can tell you how this ends up. Okay, so what happens here is his chariot just fluffs and breaks. Doesn't die, breaks. I don't catch him.
But you overrun into this?
Yeah, I overrun into there, and my thinking there was I've got another giant and a Frosty for chaff if I need it. I think I win the head-to-head matchup with those warriors if I have the buffs in place. And so I go in. And we had a very dicey moment where Micah had some pretty bad combat rolls, and I got all the buffs that I wanted, and I had him. He was breaking on a 3.
Oh no!
And so I was like, man, I'm gonna get your wizard, this brick, the objective, this is like an 18 something plus, right? And he hits the 3 and sticks.
Oh no. Well, you're still in a good
Which
spot,
is
even if he
real.
sticks.
I am, yeah. So ultimately, what I do is we grind. Nothing happens there. The warrior brick sticks around because he's then able to pump a bunch of buffs in, and
Yeah.
so we kind of just tie it up a little bit there. Um, I do charge the flank of the Forsworn brick with the giant, which is a little bit of a risky move, but they were, it was a good way to hold them in place without having to try to chaff, and that ends up working out. He does not kill the giant. I pin the brick in place for the rest of the game. So basically, the way it ends up is I get the chosen knights, half points for the barbarian horseman, the behemoth, and I think that's it.
Did you get half points in this unit? You said you really knocked it down.
Unfortunately, I didn't. He held on to it by like a couple of models, and he gets a giant, the reavers, a bolt thrower, and I think that's it. So a moderate points lead, and the objective to end up with a
Another 15.
15
Still, that's still a solid win. That's
yeah,
a good win.
hard won
Yeah.
game against a good opponent. We talked about it afterwards, and I think he was a little tentative in the matchup between the Lions and the Forsworn brick. I mean, he'd done the math just like I had, and I think I do come out on top there. But because it was a 2-on-1 sort of a situation, I think if he just rammed those 2 bricks forward, I think I would have probably had to give up the central objective, which would have ended up the game with kind of like a draw-ish. But I think he was worried that I'd go straight into that Forsworn brick and just ace it, which is possible.
Mop up, yeah. It's a good chance, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, good game, good opponent. I finally broke my streak of losing against Micah. So we're now 1-2. So Micah, we've got another game ahead of us. We'll see how it goes.
No, you're doing good. I mean, I don't think I've ever beaten Micah, but good job. That was a good game. That was a really good game. I was a little worried when you only sent me 3 or 4 pictures. And I'm like, oh, this was a bad game. But no.
No, yeah, it was tight, and I was also I really want to finish games. So far I've finished all my games, right? So 6 turns fully. So that was a big goal, especially the online tournament games can take like 4 or 5 hours, and I was like,
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen at the real life tournament.
It's
So I was really
draining, yeah.
pushing it. Sometimes you just miss the pictures. I actually think I had a 5th, but it was super blurry, unfortunately. So I tried. I was doing my best.
No, I think that was still a very entertaining game, so don't worry about it. But okay, that's the end of it. You're sitting at 35 goes to what, 50?
Yeah, 50 points.
50 after
so
3
I
games, which is
end
pretty
up
solid.
on table 2 in round 4, and we'll look forward to that battle report because that's also a really good one.
Definitely. So please like and subscribe. But we will be back with my round 3 next time. Have a good evening, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.